the most significant terror threat to the U.S. in over a decade. FBI Director Christopher Wray today warning of attacks in the U.S. NTD's Arian Pastar has the highlights from a Senate hearing on threats to the homeland.
The actions of Hamas and its allies will serve as an inspiration, the likes of which we haven't seen since ISIS launched its so-called caliphate several years ago.
FBI Director Christopher Wray on Tuesday warning of an increased terrorism threat at a Senate hearing on threats to the homeland. He says since Hamas attacks on Israel, multiple terrorist organizations have called for attacks against America and the West. The number of attacks on U.S. military bases overseas has already increased sharply to 25 attacks in just the last 2 weeks, according to reports. But it's not only overseas. Wray says the call for attacks by these terrorist groups also raised a threat posed by violent extremists already in the United States. It also raises questions about illegal immigration. Senator Roger Marshall asked Homeland Security's Alejandro Mayorkas how many illegal immigrants in the U.S. have ties to terrorist organizations such as Hamas, ISIS, or others.
Is it tens? Is it hundreds? Is it thousands?
An individual who poses a risk to our national security is our highest enforcement priority. And if detention,
so you don't know the answer to the question?
And if detention is indeed warranted by reason of the risk they present, then we indeed detain them.
Do you have an answer for my question?
I believe I have answered your question.
No, sir, you didn't.
Mayorkas did confirm that the U.S. saw over 600,000 illegal immigrants avoid capture this fiscal year, so-called gotaways. Arguably, the most heated exchange at Tuesday's hearing was between Senator Josh Hawley and Mayorkas. Hawley showed tweets of a Homeland Security immigration officer praising Hamas attacks on Israel on the day of the attacks. Hawley asked what Homeland Security has done about this. Mayorkas replied, calling the question despicable. Here's what followed.
Have you fired her? Don't come to this hearing room when Israel has been invaded and Jewish students are barricaded in libraries in this country and cannot be escorted out because they are threatened for their lives. You have employees who are celebrating genocide, and you are saying it's despicable for me to ask the question?
Mayorkas later clarified he finds the question despicable because he has close family ties to Holocaust survivors. The employee has been put on administrative leave but hasn't been fired. Arian Pastar, NTD News.